Privilege today to be joined by Stephen J. Manning, and we are here to talk about your success. Your success is a must. Failure is not your option. And this is number 2 in our series, because we are supporting the Monday Influencer, which we've launched, and we're very excited about that. We're trying to help people to realize that New Year's resolutions don't last until the end of January. They should last all year round. And Stephen's big on not liking New Year's resolutions, but we're not gonna get angry here, and we're not gonna get in a mood about that. But last time we actually spoke about life not being a dress rehearsal, and this is here to build upon that conversation, which was pretty good, I think, to be honest. And it's very important that we understand that by now, hopefully, you've actually taken a stock. You've taken a piece of paper and a pen, or a Word doc, or however you compile your information, and you've made a list. You've made a list of where you are, what assets you have in terms of your career assets, and where you want to be going. Because we're going to be digging into that in the next few weeks, months, and coming years over our platforms here. And we can always take questions from you. Feel free to drop us a message. And if you think this isn't for you, then that's fine. We understand that. But if you're not happy about where you are in life, you're not happy with your physique, finance, career, your business, you want to start a business, you don't want to start a business, then this is really for you. So thank you for joining me again, Stephen. Always enjoy working with you. And
of the many projects you and I have undertaken individually, collectively, over a long time, and there are many. Fortunately, there have been many. I am particularly enjoying this. Well, I kind of enjoyed Russian spy satellites over Western Europe and selling horse manure in South America, but this is something unique. I think that we've worked it into a great convergence of actionable items and topics from everyone's life, certainly ours, with the technology that's available, and you should make use of it. And just facts of life, because of course you and I talk much about the fact that we mean that we are seeking to influence you. We can't think for you, we can't do for you, but we can point you. And that's something we're doing, and it's exciting, it's fun, and it's even adding to it, the cherry on top, is we have some collaborators that Nat will talk about, that are people that we reach out to, we listen to, and it's our privilege to have them in our lives, in our academic lives, in our business lives. These are some of the greatest and most influential people in the world. I'm not humble saying that, but I am humbled by the relationship. So
yeah.
Again, we want to talk about success, and quite honestly, everything that we talk, we preach, we hammer, ultimately ends up in success in life and business. Because after all, when you wake up in the morning, you're looking for that. You're looking for success in life, business, improvement, on all of that. So I think that I would like to spend 1 minute on defining what success is, because success does not have a universal definition. It really is a complex paradigm, and it's defined qualitatively, quantitatively. It's unique to individuals, unique to groups of people, to populations. And of course, regrettably, success or lack of it is often dictated by necessity rather than choice. So as you think about your own success, think about necessity and choice and environmental influences. Now, on a macro basis, definitions of success really differ widely, and they're based on a lot of factors that you will all recognize: societal, station in life, the chronology of your life up to now, ethnicities, economics, geopolitical, and much more. See, most people, or most often, define success in terms of accumulation of wealth or professional achievement, and that beyond what was likely based on one's roots and upbringing, social position of their parents, and then ultimately themselves, education, and then both real and perceived accomplishments, and those differ greatly from person to person. I would be loath to not be reminded of the breadth of definition of success. There are billions of people, and this is a tragedy of human existence. Success is, in fact, having food and shelter. And there's a subset of those people around the world, from the depth of despair in the fourth world to the underdeveloped world to even mighty United States of America. For some people, tragically, success is defined as simple survival. Just turn on the tube, read a newspaper, and do get into social media stuff that's relevant. Now, Nathaniel, you asked me some time ago, what is success for me? Well, I define that, I have a pedestrian definition, admittedly. Now, the closest I define to success for me is having options in my life. And then to be a little pedantic about it, I think success for me is being able to seek and find satisfaction in my life in ways that I want to and am able to pursue, not at the expense of others. You and I know some incredibly successful people by many definitions. One of the most successful people I've known in my lifetime was, in fact, my best friend, my brother by choice for many decades. Bleeding edge brilliant, successful 4 times in his life. A couple of those ended up being not particularly successful financially, but then became very successful. And one day we're arguing about something, which we did that every day. He said, Steve, why don't you and I move to Pavuvu? Okay. Well, that happens to be an island in somewhere in the South Pacific. And this man, my friend, who was 6'6", 275-pound massive human being, he said, we're going to grow beards down to here. We're going to wear grass skirts, sit on the beach, and drink umbrella drinks. And then we will have really achieved success. I thought to relate that because I laughed. I said, first, I need to look up what the heck is Pavuvu. 2, I don't look particularly good in a grass skirt. 3, I don't drink. And then I thought about it. Wouldn't that be cool to sit on the beach and have no care in the world? Just subsist. That may be another definition of success. Well, thank you for.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Steve. I'm gonna kind of. I mean, I tried to do nothing for about 6 months, and actually it becomes really boring. After 6 months of doing that, maybe less, you would be really bored. He may not have been, but I think you would be bored because I know you too well, frankly.
Well,
you'd probably
if you
write
take
the
away
next Robinson Crusoe story or something. Like I mean,
Nathaniel, that would be true, but for one thing, I live in Los Angeles. My friend lived in New York or in Ireland, or he lived in the East Coast. He was a 24-hour-a-day guy. I'm a 20-hour-a-day guy.
Right. So you think he would? You don't think he would have been bored?
Throughout decades.
Right.
There were many days or times in the course of a day or a week where we would officially have a timeout. In other words, my people refused to put him through on the phone for an hour. We need a break. Now, of course, that was a phone call after the 2 emails saying you are not responding to my email. but what an amazing relationship, what a wonderful thing to have someone who has such dramatic capacity. And I thought about being on the beach doing nothing, being idle. No idle being around people like that.
No,
Because
no.
his brain is in hyperspeed at all, turbo boost at all times.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time I get out of the shower in the morning, he's already talked to 2 newspapers, 3 Sundays. It was.
Right.
There's no doubt in my mind that on the beach in Pavuvu, while he was getting absolutely drunk. By the way, he was equally erudite drunk as he was sober. Remarkable. While having had way too much to drink, smoked 2 packs of cigarettes, he would fish out, this big man, from his grass skirt, a sat phone and make calls. So you know what? Isolating him was not something that was possible. It's just the definition of success. This man who was successful, he had a lot of relationships. Lots of people took his phone calls because he was in his early 50s when he said, okay, I guess I need to try text messaging.
Talking of text
because
messaging,
he said,
as if by a miracle.
Phone. I'm going to get on the telephone.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't take my phone call, I don't need to talk to you. And at some point he discovered, hell, we were in the online world, my friend, in the 90s. We developed a massive business in the online world. So he was not unaware, but it was the substance is what it is. The texture is different. The nuantical stuff, when this big dude talk to you, you've been talked at. Okay. And we went from an idea at 3 a.m, because he'd wake me up 3-4 days a week, to an interview that was pushed on CBS 60 Minutes by 9 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, I think sitting on the beach with him would have been educational for me for the rest of my life. And sitting with him, it obviated the need for me to review and edit everything he's ever written. So that's success, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's most important thing that I've extracted from what you're saying is you reminded me about the people that we need to surround ourselves with. And this is a huge thing. And that's why I spend a lot of time with you, because I understand that you are hugely successful, and in your life you've grown $1 billion business and managed, thousands of employees, and you've disrupted entire industries, and that I find particularly interesting, and that makes me tick, right? But to other people, you would drive them mad because they don't have a vision to get somewhere that I want to go. So there's not a lot in common with some people. You're not going to find the right person to either mentor you, or you mentor, or you coach, or a combination of the both. You're not going to actually find that if you aren't, I would say, similar in drive. I would say similar, not similar in age. I think you could be similar in age. I even know of people who have mentors who are younger than them, which I find interesting.
Oh, sure.
But it's fascinatingly interesting. I mean, I'm I'm 48, so I have a lot of friends who are in their 30s, because I find they keep me young, and I find that particularly interesting. But when you take the global population and the perspective of job dissatisfaction, okay, apparently, according to what Gemini has brought up from Google, around 65% of employees report some degree of job dissatisfaction. I think it's more than that. From the older records, and more than that. In the US, over 63% of employees express dissatisfaction with their current roles. Often work-life balance and job security are primary concerns. And Gallup's annual survey found that only 23% of employees worldwide are thriving at work. I think that's rubbish. I think that's much less. I think people probably lie about those surveys. I think, I mean, I've been in many jobs since I was in the wine industry. I was in a number of jobs then where I was, sometimes you're happy, But I mean, me and my friend, we were talking about this earlier. We spotted these two chaps delivering. They were nothing against delivery people, because without delivery people, nothing would work. And he said to me, "What do you think they're thinking? What do you think they're thinking about when they're doing their job?" And I said, "Well, not a lot, because I've done a job like that, and actually it was brainless sort of work. But then actually maybe they get a workout for their brain playing, I don't know, some sort of board game or painting figures, or I don't know. I mean, everybody is different, right? And some people live to work, and some people work to live. Some people hate to work. There's a whole load of different kind of capabilities here. Whereas you and I, it's pretty simple. Like, we're entrepreneurial in our spirit. We want to do this, and this, and we want to grow this and grow that. Whereas other people, the majority of people just want job security. They want to do a job that they feel valued in. They want to earn enough money so they don't have to worry. And they want some sort of recognition for that. And they also want some sort of growth. So they enjoy some sort of growth, but it doesn't have to be huge growth. Sometimes they're just happy, just plodding through their job, their life. And you know what? Who are we to turn around and say, well, that's bad, you should be an entrepreneur? It's like, no. People, if they're happy doing what they're doing, and they don't feel like they want to change, they've got their hobbies, we are not here to say, well, you're doing it all wrong. You need to turn around. And as Stephen said in the last conversation we had, you need to put together a list of your competencies, your assets. Really, it's what was the word you actually used? I've forgotten what word you used in that talk.
I'm sorry, I use way too many words to remember.
No, it's all right. Basically, you just said people. Yeah, I mean, you said people need to take a stock of their
take inventory of who they are, what they are, where they are, their issues, their potential. The inventory that you do when you're really, really, really clear-eyed thinking in the middle of the night when you can't sleep, where there's nothing else other than you in a dark room and your brain is engaged and racing. That's, I think, what you're referring to.
Well, that happens to me sometimes when I'm writing this Monday Influencer with you. I wake up in the middle of the night with some brainwave, and it's actually really quite nice to actually get that out of your brain so you can go back to sleep, because it's a weird thing when you wake up and you've got that stuff on your mind. A lot of the time you go back to sleep and you just forget it, and then that leaves it in the back of your brain there to then continue wasting your brain power. So you miss it altogether, and it just disappears, right?
Just a word to the wise. I mean, I may not be the best example on earth, but my entire adult life, I've had pencils, not pens, and yellow pads in every room in my house. Why pencils? Because they don't fail in the middle of the night. And inside, I had a board inside my shower with a waterproof board and a pen, and every nightstand in the kitchen, in the bathroom. Of course, now I have this, and I can just say, yo, Google, write this down, and I'm done, because I don't want to forget. As good as total recall I used to have, I have way too much in my mind, and I'm not your age anymore. But if I can digress for a moment, a couple of things about things like jobs. Now, let me just share this with those watching. The best job I've ever had in my life. I was a teenager in Los Angeles, penniless. We were recent homeless immigrants in LA. We had nothing. Actually, in a church with mice, we might have been borrowers from the poor church mice. And the best job I had, which I needed to supplement the income, my income, my food money, my tuition money eventually came from hustling on tennis courts. My best job is I cleaned rat cages at the massive Cedars-Sinai Medical Center laboratories, which pay 24 cents an hour more than anything else I could get. And the reason I relate that to being the best job I've ever had, imagine going to the big, beautiful building and everything's shiny and lights, and we go down a few floors, shiny lights. It's just antiseptic because it's a huge medical facility. And then you go to the double doors and you get a hint of what you're about to do. And then you go to the second double doors, it's still shiny and beautiful. And then you find out that the reason God made trash cans is for you to throw up in. And you do that for 8 hours. Great for a diet. But I learned a pillar of success. Say yes when others will say no. I thought that was a righteous job. I worked like a proverbial dog. It was awful. And I earned 24 cents more than I could earn working for that insurance company who I worked for part-time in my 100-hour work week while going to school. My next job, and this is the second job I've ever had. I went to work for a little bitty insolvent marketing business. It's a 21-year-old. I showed up the first day and asked my boss for a raise. He said, "You're the only employee I've ever had to ask for a raise before showing up to work." Somehow I managed to eke out almost 20 years, and the business grew to a billion plus business that was exceptionally successful. That was the only other job. Now, that said, I have worked for a lot of people and companies since then. So when you talk about being an entrepreneur, I worked for a lot of companies from Apple to Xerox and lots of people in between. So, oh, gee, you're not an employee. How do you know? Are you kidding? I got news for you. Among those companies, like the car companies, you drive a car. I worked for them too. And pretty much half the people listen to this drive cars of companies I worked with, and banks somewhere I might have done some work for. No, I can't be late. No, I can't be superficial. I have to be at least very good, and sometimes really good, because all my clients were smarter than me, every one of them. Mm-hmm. But we're talking about evaluating where you are. Now, let's just say that, again, one of the things we talk about is there are really three categories of people. Lead. Your options are simple. Lead, follow, or get out. What do you mean get out? Did your parents leave you a bunch of wealth? You can live in Pavuvu. Otherwise, that just doesn't make any sense. The follow, you really want to be a follower. You want to be obscure, irrelevant, and you want to lead. And by the way, the most elegant way to lead is to lead thoughtful leader, not to do. Think this. Some people soften it up a little and say there's really three things. There are leaders, people who work with leaders, and then there's everyone else. May I encourage you all not to be everything else. If you don't want to be a leader, you don't want to, and that's fine. That's fine, because remember, a lot of leaders are either entrepreneurs, mostly entrepreneurs, but also highly accomplished people. Not everybody is an entrepreneur. Let me define being an entrepreneur. I did a lecture at for a bunch of really smart people at the Graduate School of Business at USC at Marshall School. And I said to 120 people who are PhD and master's candidates, they're professors, can somebody spell entrepreneur? Everybody. I said, no. Let me write on the board how to spell entrepreneur. And I wrote Rolaids. Now, I don't know if they sell Rolaids in Europe or wherever. Rolaids is the all-time favorite antacid in America.
Oh, I don't know what that is. No.
Rolaids, or Tums, the same thing.
Oh,
your stomach
I've
is,
heard
oh
of
my
Tums.
God, my stomach. Take some Rolaids. Tums, take Pepto-Bismol. Same idea. And they're like, what do you mean? I said, here's a definition of entrepreneur. You get up in the morning, and you know to certainty you have to create your own action. You create the action, it works, you eat. You don't create the action, you don't eat. Now, constitutionally, psychologically, even physiologically, A lot of people just don't have that. The uncertainty of that chews people up. You wake up in the morning, you want to be able to eat, feed your family, pay the bills. An entrepreneur says, I have got to create action that I can do all that. Most people don't have that, which of course allows us to go get a job, work for a major insurance company, go through the training process, go through the reviews, work our way up. And then, but we know what we're going to do on Wednesday. We know what we're going to do on Thursday. We're going to work on stack A1 from A to Z, finish, go to next. We get a review once a year, twice a year. And that's our career path. Nothing wrong with that, because it takes a certain type of individual who can wake up in the morning and say, I know I'm going to eat sometime today. I need to make money because I have kids and all that. How am I going to do that? Other than you work in a large environment or a predictable environment, you're going to go to work. You know what you're going to do, how much you have to do. Your boss is going to have a headache. Ouch, you have a bad day. Your boss is going to be in great spirits because the kids graduated from high school. You're going to have a good day. And that's very predictable. Now, when you're an entrepreneur, some of the negative stuff that happens is, in fact, spurs you on, pushes you on. Okay?
That's a good way to look at it. Absolutely.
Here's something. Okay. You sit there and say, I don't know what I'm going to do about this, but I know I need to do something about it. That, my friend, differentiates a lot of successful people from a lot of unsuccessful people. In other words, oh yeah, here comes, homework. Okay? How much homework do you need? Well, not enough. And when you're done, you need to do some more. And then you need to do some more. And you become a shameless researcher. And that ties into something you said a moment ago. And then you say yes when everybody else says no. And at some point, that the reward follows the work, the thoughtful work. Thoughtful meaning you thought it out. You have goals, attainable goals, perhaps a stretch. You need to create the path to the goals. Otherwise, you're never going to get there. You may not even know you got there if you don't know where you're going. And then you have to figure out how to get there, do homework. And you know, something you said a moment ago, which I think is so critical in life and in life, relationships, work, career, success. Here's another 2 tidbits. One, you are known by the company you keep. I think it's critical, particularly in the world, the troubled world we live in today. Also, some of your success is in fact dependent on the company you keep, and to be specific, the company you seek out. I am a shameless researcher, as you know. I once called the Pope, the Holy Father, to ask a theological question. Now, I was kind of serious when I said I would, turned into a conversation on the telephone at 5 o'clock in the morning. I love relating that story because people actually say, you're making it up. I don't have the imagination to make that up. But the company you keep, and you said something about mentorship at people, young people mentoring older people. In the biggest company I ran, we had a couple hundred management people. Now, the problem we had, and some of you listening, watching will relate to this, the company was quite vertical, meaning we did what we did, and then we did more, and we did better, and then we did more, and we did better. We didn't go buy another company. We didn't expand other product lines. We did what we did, and we overpaid management. But pay is just one thing. Satisfaction is very important. So you're sitting there, mid-level management, and saying, where am I going to go? Well, I do make a lot of money, but I'm not going anywhere because the person above me is 5 years older, 10 years old. They're not going anywhere. They're buying vacation homes. So we created a management development program. Part of that program, everyone was compelled to participate in everything from business math to conflict resolution to mentoring, all that. And then I created an upside-down mentoring program where you have a third-level manager mentoring a senior vice president. Now, how does that make sense? And I will leave you with this Manningism. In my little world, To a newborn, every joke is new. Little translation. The kids, the boys and girls who were line supervisors in a big 1,000,000-square-foot building don't know that we've always done it this way. Why? Doesn't mean anything to me. I don't care how we've done it. So kids say, well, it doesn't make sense to do that. And you know how right they are and how often they are right? Well, senior people say, what does a kid know? Okay, so now we have a mentorship program. So you have a young line supervisor, he or she might be 24, 25 years old, really on their first job, telling that senior executive their thoughts on how they should do something they don't know anything about. Because they look at you just like my kids looked at me when they're long. Daddy, why? Why is that? And I would answer, well, but no, why? And then because I had two wonderfully bright and argumentative children. And eventually the sixth time around, I say, because I don't know why, but because I said so. And the kids walk away saying, I don't buy it. You don't buy it. I'm the guy who traveled 3 million miles to learn this. You're a punk kid in school. But you know, the wisdom of that child is irreplaceable. Mentoring up. Listen, in my entire life, I've had the good fortune to have a lot of young people around. I've always hired attitude and brain power, not experience. I can teach you to fly a space shuttle, but I can't teach you to make good decisions. Okay. How much I learned from those young people look at me and say, it doesn't make sense to me. Are you kidding? Look how successful we are. I mean, I don't get it. I think it should be. Really? You learn an amazing lesson on a 21-year-old kid who's been lying about his age for 3 years to get a job. One day it takes a 400,000 square foot building with $5 million worth of conveyors, 6 stories and running that way and this way. And overnight, here's the electricians rewired. That's going backwards. And the engineers say, that's never worked before. And the kid said, makes sense to me. And they said, well, you know what? How about you become a senior manager and have them report to you? Because, of course, she's right. Of course. 100% of the time, those conveyors go that way, and that's how it's fed and all that. And the kid said, doesn't make sense to me. So you got Ernie, who's a kid, who's now running a massive building with hundreds and hundreds of employees. And everybody's saying, how could you put that kid in charge? Well, he figured out it works better the other way. And the engineers are saying, that's just never going to work. Oh, by the way, today Ernie runs the biggest distribution company in auto parts in the world. He runs distribution. I mean, he was illiterate at 21. But it goes to, by company you keep. And you get your knowledge where you can. And one last thing, the best of the best, the brightest of the brightest, the top of the top, the guys and the women run the Fortune 20s, everybody. If you can get to them, they are more than happy to help you. More than happy to help you. And what do they want? I've been there, CEO of some company, finally, after I literally painted their office blue one night without them being there, they got really angry. And the assistant said, he'll give you exactly 3 minutes. He's angry. Cool. Okay, so an hour later, I said, I need to get off the phone because we got to chat. Bottom line is, what do they want in return? Reach out, folks. If you're stuck, find the people that know this. Reach out. First of all, many people don't reach out because they know they're not going to get there. How about you be the exception? And you know what they want in return? You can afford to hire them. I'll tell you what they want. They want to know if you succeeded with the advice they gave you. They want to thank you, and they're going to get really upset if you don't drop them a note from time to time saying, they're not. I've done this and you're right about that, but I don't, but can you give me another minute or two? And you're now talking to the CEO of a Fortune 20 company who works 100 hours a week anyway, but they're pleased to talk to you. Success.
Oh, yeah.
You achieve success often on the coattails of people who've been there, done that, and know it. and they're willing to give you
100%.
time. It's an amazing thing.
100%. And that's why, that's why we've launched this, the Monday Influencer, because we have wisdom from you, I'm co-editing this with you, and from exceptional contributions from meticulously chosen best of the best world renowned authorities and subject matter experts. And, literally FTSE Tech CEO, Sir Michael Tobin, international best-selling author and keynote speaker, Kim Adele Randall. We have so many people here to list that it's absolutely crazy. We have author Seth David Radwell, award-winning columnist and author Peter Bodo, business leader and keynote speaker Elliot Matloff, and others. And the list is long, but we will be sharing lots and lots of interviews with these people, and they will be contributing towards your future success, everyone. So we really thank you. We're going to drop a link somewhere, and if you can't find it, then please drop us a message. We'll be happy to help you to get access. Thank you, Stephen. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you very much,
And thanks,
Nathaniel.